My siblings received extravagant gifts, while all I got for my birthday was body wash. Now, as I'm moving out, everything feels like it's falling apart. I'm a 25-year-old woman still living with my parents, alongside my two siblings, Joseph and Katrina. As the oldest, I was the first to hold a job, and for a long time my father and I were the only ones working to support the family. My mother was often too ill or tired to contribute. Over the years, I've come to realize that her condition stems from her own choices. She prefers lounging on the couch watching TV or reading rather than working. I stopped trying to encourage her to find a job long ago. My brother and sister started working soon after finishing school, but they struggled to keep their jobs. My brother's involvement in a robbery led to his downfall, while my sister attributed her unemployment to mental health issues. Any financial stability we felt when they began working was short-lived. Consequently, I had to take on extra shifts at work since I couldn't depend on them. I've worked hard to advance in my career and now earn more than many others my age. While I often receive compliments about my accomplishments, I can't shake the feeling of being an imposter. Reflecting on my contributions to my family, 70% of my income goes towards household expenses, leaving me with barely enough for myself. On top of that, unexpected expenses seem to arise at the end of every month. I work so much that I rarely come home, and when I do, it's a chaotic scene. Yes, I get paid for my job, but there's no compensation for the housework I do. Cleaning, doing laundry, washing dishes, and grocery shopping. My mother and sister hardly pitch in. My mother spends all day glued to the TV, while my sister isolates herself in her room, only emerging to socialize or create trouble. I can't turn to my father or brother for help because they adhere to traditional gender roles. While I disagree with these norms, living under their roof left me feeling powerless. Whenever I tried to express my feelings, my mother would suggest I find my own place, fully aware of my financial constraints. She believes I'm too soft-hearted to let them fend for themselves. This brings me to the root of my frustration. For my birthday 2 days ago, I received nothing more than body wash, while my siblings got lavish gifts. Last month, Katrina enjoyed a surprise birthday party that we couldn't afford, and I had to take additional consulting work to help cover costs, after my father initially claimed he had enough funds. When expenses were miscalculated, he told me about his debts, and I ended up paying for the party. I always felt overlooked. Every year, my siblings received gifts that eclipsed mine. This year, Joseph got a new gaming system, and Katrina a spa gift certificate, while I was given body wash. After everything I've done for my family, I couldn't believe my worth was reduced to such a trivial item, and it ignited a strong sense of anger in me. When I confronted them about the unequal treatment, my father became angry, questioning my disrespect, despite knowing their financial situation. I couldn't help but laugh at the irony. He had gone into debt for Katrina's party but could only spare $20 for mine. At that moment, I questioned whether I was adopted because it felt as though I was being treated like a stranger. My mother started crying, claiming that she hated my outbursts, saying it was acceptable for her to express her feelings but not for me. I interpreted this as a clear double standard. After a heated exchange, I retreated to my room, frustrated and filled with sorrow over how my life has become. It seems like everyone my age is achieving milestones like buying cars or starting families, while I'm just a caregiver for my ungrateful family. Reflecting on how long I allowed myself to be taken advantage of, I decided that this is not how I want to continue living. I need to change things for myself. 2 months later, I can't believe I actually moved out. My new apartment is small and minimally furnished, but it's mine. The first thing I did after moving in was lie in bed for hours, enjoying the silence and peace that I never knew I craved. Moving out wasn't easy, especially given my family's controlling nature, but I started setting boundaries and only paid minimum household bills to save money. When they asked about my finances, I explained that I'd receive a year-end bonus. Once I had enough for a deposit, I finally told them goodbye and moved into my own space. A month has passed since I moved into my apartment, and it's been challenging, but I'm happier than ever. I've been furnishing my place and even threw a housewarming party. I've begun socializing again and have started dating, thanks to Lisa introducing me to someone. I'm finally living for myself. However, I haven't heard from my family at all. They've been uncharacteristically quiet, which has felt odd. But I've decided not to reach out. I don't want to be the one constantly mending fences. This silence continued until my mother called me at work and asked where the check was for the household expenses. I was baffled. She had forgotten that I no longer lived with them. I reminded her that my siblings, being able-bodied, should be helping out. She accused me of being inconsiderate, to which I responded that they needed to be accountable for their own financial situations. After hanging up, I didn't respond to her further calls or my father's attempt to scold me, feeling a sense of peace for not letting them back into my life. I am shocked by how my family has reacted. They've been hounding me for money after I've clearly communicated that I won't help them anymore. I've been focused on furnishing my apartment, but they even came knocking on my door last night, causing a scene that disrupted my gathering with friends. When I opened the door, my father and siblings were there arguing with the building manager, insisting to be let in. I firmly told them they weren't welcome and that if they wanted to see me, they should have called. They refused to leave without talking to me, and things escalated when my brother barged in and began verbally attacking me. Things got out of control, with my possessions being treated disrespectfully, prompting my friend to involve security. Eventually, the police were called, leading to my father and brother being jailed for trespassing. This was the breaking point. They crossed a line, and I've decided enough is enough. After 4 months, I can finally share the outcome of my family's situation. The court outcome for my brother wasn't good. He received a year in prison due to his previous record. My father is currently on probation and must pay court fines. As for my mother, her health issues worsened due to her lifestyle, and she might have less than 2 years to live unless she changes drastically. My sister also got involved with a dangerous crowd, and after being arrested, she has no resources for legal representation. While it's heartbreaking, I've come to terms with how little I've contributed to their problems. They made their choices, and now they face the consequences. My family's struggles have only deepened, especially since my father failed to pay the damage he caused, leading to more jail time. My mother, once dependent on me, is now left to deal with everything on her own. With my siblings in jail, the house is empty. They relied on me for too long without ever acknowledging my contributions, and now face dire consequences for their actions. I have no obligation to dig them out of their self-inflicted issues. The situation is even worse for my family. My parents' house has been vandalized, and there are now squatters living there. While I feel a sense of relief for not being involved, it's still troubling how quickly everything has deteriorated since I left. They wanted me for my support, but now that I'm gone, they're facing the ramifications of their choices. I gave so much to that family, and I'm finally free to focus on myself without guilt.